So let's dive into what looks like a massive opportunity emerging in Vietnam's construction world. We're talking about a real revolution here, and it's all being led by SAWA, the country's Timber Construction and Building Materials Association. For any business or organization looking for the next big thing, this is your guide to getting in on the ground floor.
Right off the bat, let's talk about the number that should get everyone's attention: $6 billion. And what's really key here is that this isn't just some wild guess or a hopeful forecast. Nope, this is a firm target set by the Vietnamese government for the domestic timber market by 2030. That's a huge signal of serious, top-level commitment. But honestly, that $6 billion figure, it's about so much more than just a market size. It represents a fundamental shift, a new era for construction. You see, with Vietnam's pledge to hit net zero emissions by 2050, the entire building industry is being forced to rethink everything. We're talking about moving away from old-school materials toward a future built on timber.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll dig into that $6 billion opportunity. Then we'll look at Vietnam's blueprint for growth and how they're taking ideas from the lab and turning them into actual landmarks. After that, we'll talk about the numbers that make the business case. And finally, how the whole ecosystem for the future is being designed right now.
So what's really driving this incredible shift? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm. You've got this global push for sustainability meeting Vietnam's own national net zero goals. And on top of that, the construction industry has this urgent need to slash its carbon footprint. It all points to one thing: the time for timber is right now.
And at the absolute heart of this whole revolution is a material called engineered wood. Think about it. Traditional materials like concrete and steel have these massive carbon footprints. But engineered wood, it's a game changer because it actually stores carbon. It's so effective that even global bodies like the UN see it as a critical tool for building the carbon-neutral cities of tomorrow. Okay, so you have this huge vision, but how do you actually make it happen? How does it become a real, tangible plan? Well, Vietnam is rolling out a very smart, phased strategy to become a leader in this space, and it's creating clear entry points for organizations, both at home and from around the world. Now, what's so smart about this strategy is how it's broken into two phases. Phase 1 is all about building up local know-how with smaller, micro-manufacturing setups. This lets companies learn, collaborate, and really prove the model works without massive risk. Then, once that's proven, bam! Phase 2 kicks in, scaling up to attract major foreign direct investment and turning Vietnam into a global powerhouse for timber processing. And this is the roadmap for the people side of things, which is just as important. It all starts with foundational learning, training, research, all that good stuff. From there, it moves into building deep expertise through universities and tech transfer. And the end goal? Total self-sufficiency fueled by local innovation and strong supply chains. It's a solid, sustainable plan. A plan is one thing, but you need real innovation to back it up, right? So how is Vietnam planning to create an industry that doesn't just copy what others are doing, but actually leads the way? The key lies in a really unique, collaborative approach to R&D. And that brings us to the $6 billion question, really. How do you stop relying on expensive imported materials and start using your own local strengths? It's about building a truly sustainable industry right from the ground up, using what you've got. And the answer? It's these collaborative learning labs. Basically, it's about getting universities and industry leaders in the same room. They're creating these dedicated centers to test and innovate using Vietnam's own timber resources, like eucalyptus and acacia. The goal is to figure out the best way to combine the local woods with some imported ones to get the perfect mix of cost and performance. This is the path to becoming self-sufficient. All right, innovation is exciting and strategy is crucial. But if you want to attract serious investment, I'm talking about smart organizations with real capital, you've got to speak their language. And that language, you guessed it, is data. Clear, verifiable data that makes the business case absolutely undeniable. You know, there's a great quote from some industry experts that puts it perfectly. For timber to really go head-to-head with materials like concrete and steel, it can't just be about being green. It has to prove its worth with hard numbers on performance, on cost, and on its entire lifecycle impact. So what does that data look like? It means building a rock-solid business case with standardized metrics. We're talking ISO standard lifecycle assessments to show the environmental win and super detailed cost models to prove the long-term financial value. This is exactly the kind of precise information that gives investors and policymakers the confidence to go all in.
So let's bring this back down to the real world. You've got the vision, you've got the plan. Now, how do you build an ecosystem where architects, engineers, and developers can actually do this stuff confidently and creatively? The biggest hurdle right now isn't the wood itself, or even the desire to use it. It's a knowledge gap. For a lot of professionals in the field, working with advanced timber is brand new territory. They need the right tools, the right codes, and the right training to really feel confident. And the solution is this really smart three-pronged approach. First, you update the building codes to officially allow for cool things like timber hybrid construction. Second, you create practical design guides, basically roadmaps for architects and engineers. And third, you roll out training programs to give the whole industry the skills they need to make it all happen smoothly. And when you put all of that in place, what's the result? You empower designers and builders to see timber not as some niche alternative, but as a true partner to steel and concrete. And that unlocks a whole new world of groundbreaking, sustainable, and frankly, beautiful architecture. The big takeaway here is that nobody can do this alone. This kind of revolution takes a whole ecosystem working together. Businesses need to innovate manufacturing, investors need to provide the funding, associations need to guide the policy, and designers need to push the boundaries. There is absolutely a critical role in here for your organization. So, we've walked through the massive opportunity, the smart strategic plan, the deep commitment to innovation, and the ecosystem being built for success. The only real question left is your organization ready to be a part of building this future? If the answer is yes, then the next step couldn't be clearer. Get in touch with SAWA. They're at the absolute center of this entire movement. Join them, and you can play a direct part in Vietnam's incredible sustainable construction revolution.